Ladies and gentlemen, friends, dreamers and doers, I want you to settle in tonight. I want you to listen carefully, because what I'm about to share with you is not just advice, it's life-altering. These are the truths that hit me so hard, that shook me to my core, and forced me to look in the mirror and say, I am not settling for less. I am not living small. I am here to live large. Tonight, I want to share with you three rules that changed my life. These are not just concepts. These are not just ideas you can nod your head at. These are rules you live by, rules you apply, rules that demand action. And if you take them seriously, I promise you, your life will never ever be the same. The first rule, the very first rule that changed everything for me, is this: decide and decide big. I want you to hear me: decide and decide big. Too many people wander through life as if they are in a fog, drifting, hoping, wishing, praying that somehow something will just happen to them. They wait for a miracle, but miracles don't happen to people who are standing still. Miracles happen to people who decide, and I don't mean small decisions. I don't mean, I guess I'll try this. I mean big, bold, audacious decisions. Decisions that make your heart race, decisions that scare you a little, because you see, life will test your commitment. Life will test your courage. Life will whisper in your ear every single day, you're not good enough. You can't do this. You're too late. You're too young. You're too old. But when you decide, and I mean truly decide, you shut down that voice, you move forward with clarity, you take the fear and you use it as fuel. I remember the moment I decided to stop accepting mediocrity. I remember the moment I decided I would no longer be defined by my past, by the circumstances that had held me back. I made a decision, a big decision, that I was going to live a life of purpose, a life of meaning, a life where I left no potential on the table. And once I decided, everything shifted. Opportunities began to find me, doors started to open, and suddenly the impossible started to feel possible. So I want you tonight, if you take nothing else from me, take this: decide and decide big. Don't hedge, don't settle, don't whisper your dreams in the shadows. Speak them, write them, declare them, and then act, because nothing changes until you do. The second rule is this: embrace responsibility. Own your life fully. And I know some of you are nodding your head right now, but let me be clear, this rule is not comfortable. It's not easy, and it's certainly not something most people want to hear. Too many people go through life blaming others. They blame their parents, their teachers, the economy, the government, the weather, the traffic, their boss, their colleagues, the lottery, the past. And they do it with conviction. But here's the truth: every moment you spend pointing the finger at someone else is a moment you give away your power. Every excuse you make, every reason why you can't, is a brick in the wall that separates you from your greatness. I had to learn this the hard way. I had to look in the mirror and see that my life, my outcomes, my failures, my successes, they were mine and mine alone. Nobody else was responsible for my dreams. Nobody else could make them come true. And once I accepted that responsibility, something magical happened. I stopped waiting. I stopped whining. I stopped looking for permission. I started acting. I started making choices that aligned with my vision, with my values, with my purpose. And you know what? The weight of life lifted off me. Not because life became easier, but because I became stronger. I became unstoppable. I embraced responsibility, and I owned it fully, and you can too. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter who doubted you. The only thing that matters is that you own your life fully, without apology, without delay. Don't wait for a mentor. Don't wait for a sign from the universe. Don't wait for the right time. The right time is now. Take responsibility, own your life, and watch as doors open that you didn't even know existed. Now, the third rule, the final rule that changed my life, is perhaps the most powerful of all: persist until you succeed. Oh yes, I said it. Persist until you succeed. Because the world is filled with people who are talented, people who are smart, people who have ideas, people who have vision, but they give up, they quit. They throw in the towel because the first door closes, the first opportunity slips away, the first failure hits them in the face, and they let it stop them. Listen to me. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the process. Failure is a teacher. Failure is a test. If you are not failing, then you are not pushing hard enough. If you are not facing setbacks, then you are not dreaming big enough. I learned that early in my life. I faced rejection after rejection. I faced moments when the world seemed to say, no, not you, not now, you will never make it. And yet I persisted. I kept getting up. I kept learning. I kept moving forward. And every single no eventually became a stepping stone to a yes. Every closed door eventually led to the open door that would change everything. Persistence requires courage. Persistence requires patience. Persistence requires a refusal to be defined by circumstances, by obstacles, by fear. And I promise you this, if you persist long enough, if you keep going when everyone else stops, if you refuse to quit when the world says it's over, success will find you. I have seen it happen. I have lived it. I have felt the thrill of victory after the darkest nights of despair. And I tell you, there is no feeling in the world like knowing that you refused to quit, that you persisted, that you kept faith in yourself even when no one else did. Now, let me tie this all together for you, because here's the truth. Deciding big, embracing responsibility, persisting until you succeed, they are not separate rules. They are part of a single path, a single journey toward a life that is extraordinary. When you decide big, you set your eyes on the prize. When you embrace responsibility, you take control of the journey. And when you persist, you make sure that nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you from reaching your destiny. I want you to take a moment and imagine what your life could look like if you lived by these rules. Imagine waking up every morning with clarity and purpose. Imagine walking into every room knowing that you are in control of your life. Imagine refusing to give up when the world says you can't. Imagine the possibilities, the doors, the opportunities, the people you could become. That is what is possible when you embrace these rules, not in theory, not in a speech, but in your life. And I want you to understand something very clearly. These rules do not belong to me. They are not mine to keep. They belong to you. They belong to everyone who is willing to make the decision, to take responsibility, and to persist. You can start today, right now, in this very moment. The moment you decide to change, the moment you decide to take ownership, the moment you decide to keep going no matter what, you take control of your life, and you begin a journey that is unlike anything you have ever experienced. You see, friends, life is too short to live in the shadow of fear. Life is too precious to settle for mediocrity. Life is too rich, too full, too extraordinary to waste a single day doubting yourself, hesitating, or waiting for someone else to tell you it's okay. Decide big, embrace responsibility, persist until you succeed. These are not suggestions. These are demands, demands you make of yourself, demands that call forth your best self, demands that awaken the giant within you. And as I look out at all of you tonight, I see the potential, I see the fire, I see the greatness that is waiting to be unleashed. But you have to do the work. You have to take the first step. You have to make the commitment to yourself. You have to look in the mirror and say, I am capable, I am strong, I am relentless, I am unstoppable. And then you act, you move forward, you stumble, you fall, you get back up, and you keep going. You refuse to quit. You refuse to give in. You refuse to settle for anything less than your destiny. And when you do that, when you fully embrace these 3 rules, I promise you, life will start to reward you in ways you never imagined. Opportunities will come, people will notice, doors will open, and most importantly, you will feel the satisfaction, the pride, the exhilaration of knowing that you took control, that you made the decision, that you refused to quit, and that you became the person you were always meant to be. So tonight I leave you with this challenge. Take these rules and apply them. Don't just hear them, don't just nod along, don't just think that's nice. Apply them, decide big, embrace responsibility. Persist until you succeed, and when you do, you will look back on your life and say, that moment, that choice, that commitment, it changed everything. And I promise you, friends, when you live by these rules, you will never, ever settle for less. You will never, ever live in fear. You will never, ever doubt yourself again. You will become unstoppable, unshakable, undeniable. You will become the person you were put on this earth to be. Decide, own, persist, and watch as your life transforms in ways you cannot yet imagine. I want to talk to you tonight about something that is absolutely crucial if you want to live a life of meaning, of purpose, of impact. I want to talk to you about belief. I want to talk to you about trusting yourself even when the world around you doubts you. I want to talk to you about a force so powerful, so transformative, that it can carry you through the darkest nights and the most difficult storms. And that force, my friends, is self-belief. The kind of belief that does not waver in the face of criticism. The kind of belief that does not shrink when everyone else says you can't. The kind of belief that whispers to your heart, you can, you will, you must. Even when it feels like the entire universe is saying the opposite. I want you to think about the people you admire in your life, the people who have done extraordinary things, the people who have achieved greatness. I want you to think about their stories. Almost without fail, you will discover one common thread. They believed in themselves when no one else did. They trusted their instincts, their gifts, their potential, and they refused to allow doubt from others to define their path. And that is what I want you to understand tonight. The world will always doubt you. The world will always have opinions about your dreams, your ambitions, your potential. There will be people who tell you that you're too young, too old, too inexperienced, too bold, too ambitious, too much, too little. And if you let their doubts determine your actions, if you let their fear become your fear, if you let their lack of vision convince you that your dream is impossible, you will never achieve the life you were born to live. Belief in yourself is not just a nice idea. It is the foundation for everything you want in life. Without it, your dreams are fragile. Without it, your vision is vulnerable. Without it, even the smallest challenge can knock you off course. But when you cultivate true self-belief, when you anchor yourself in the certainty that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you are enough, something shifts. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start to take action where others hesitate. You start to persist where others quit. You begin to step into a life that matches the magnitude of your dreams. I want you to think about a time in your life when you doubted yourself, when you hesitated, when you let fear win. Maybe it was a decision about a job, a relationship, a move, a project, a dream that you had been nurturing quietly in your heart. And maybe, just maybe, someone told you that it was impossible, that you weren't ready, that you were asking too much. And maybe, just maybe, you listened and you walked away and you felt that sting, the sting of regret, the sting of what if. The sting of knowing deep down that you had the power to act but chose not to. I want you to recognize that sting tonight because it is a teacher. That sting is evidence that self-doubt, lack of belief, is one of the greatest thieves of potential in the human experience. And I want you to make a decision tonight that you will not allow that sting to define you again. Self-belief begins with a choice. It begins with a decision. You must make the conscious choice to trust yourself, even when everything around you says you can't. You must make the decision to silence the critics, both external and internal. You must make the decision to step forward, even when the path is uncertain, even when the odds feel stacked against you. You must decide that your life is yours to define, and no one else's opinion, no one else's fear, no one else's limitation will dictate your destiny. I want to tell you something about belief. It is not a one-time act. It is not a switch that you flip and suddenly everything works perfectly. No, belief is cultivated, it is strengthened, it is nurtured. You grow it by showing up for yourself day after day. You grow it by taking action in spite of fear, by making small commitments and keeping them, by proving to yourself repeatedly that you are capable. And every time you do, your belief grows. Every time you take a step forward, your belief expands. Every time you face a challenge and refuse to back down, your belief becomes unshakable. Think about a time when you accomplished something that at first seemed impossible. Maybe it was finishing school. Maybe it was completing a project. Maybe it was having a conversation you were afraid to have. Maybe it was taking a leap of faith in a relationship or a career. You accomplished it not because the world guaranteed it, not because someone handed it to you, but because you trusted yourself. You said, "I can do this. I will figure it out. I will learn. I will adapt. I will persevere." And when you acted with that belief, you moved mountains, you broke barriers, you exceeded expectations, even your own. And that, my friends, is the power of self-belief. But here's the truth. Self-belief is tested every single day. There will be setbacks, there will be failures, there will be moments when it feels like your world is collapsing, moments when the noise of doubt is deafening, moments when even your own mind turns against you. And in those moments, you must cling to belief with everything you have. You must remind yourself why you started, why your dream matters, why your purpose is worth fighting for. You must dig deep past the fear, past the uncertainty, past the voices that say you can't, and you must trust yourself anyway. Let me give you a practical way to strengthen this belief, because belief without action is just wishful thinking. Every day, take a moment to affirm to yourself, "I am capable, I am enough, I can handle whatever comes my way, I am worthy of my dreams." Say it not because it feels true in the moment, but because you are deciding it will be true. Say it until you believe it, until the words start to shape your reality, and then follow those words with action. Take the step you've been avoiding. Make the phone call you've been afraid to make. Apply for the position you've been doubting you can get. Start the project that scares you. Step into the challenge that seems too big. Every action taken in alignment with yourself. Belief is like cement poured into the foundation of your life, making it stronger, more resilient, and unshakable. I want you to hear me tonight. The world will never believe in you as much as you need it to. The world will never have the vision that you have for your own life. The world will never understand the dreams that burn within your heart. And that is okay. That is not a failure of the world. That is a reality you must accept. You cannot wait for approval. You cannot wait for validation. You cannot wait for permission. You must decide that your belief in yourself is sufficient, that your trust in your own potential is enough, and you must move forward with unwavering determination. Self-belief also requires resilience. It requires you to understand that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but an invitation to grow. It requires you to know that criticism is not the end of your journey, but a test of your commitment. It requires you to persist even when the world doubts you, even when your own doubts creep in. It requires you to stand tall, to keep walking, to keep speaking, to keep creating, to keep striving, to keep believing, no matter how long the journey may take. Because belief is not something that comes from comfort. Belief comes from challenge. Belief comes from testing your limits. Belief comes from proving to yourself over and over again that you are stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever imagined. Think about the stories of the greats. Every single one of them faced doubt. Every single one of them faced ridicule. Every single one of them faced failure, but they succeeded because they never stopped believing. They trusted themselves when no one else would. They held firm in their vision when others laughed. They kept moving when the odds were stacked against them. And that is the lesson for you tonight. If you cultivate that same unshakable belief, if you trust yourself even when the world doubts you, if you anchor your actions in the certainty of your own potential, there is no limit to what you can achieve, there is no dream too big, there is no mountain too high, there is no challenge too great. And I want to remind you that belief is contagious. When you trust yourself, when you step into your potential, when you act with courage and conviction, you inspire others to do the same. Your belief creates a ripple effect. Your commitment, your courage, your persistence, your unwavering self-trust, people around you will see it and they will be inspired. And that, my friends, is how greatness spreads. Not by waiting for permission, not by seeking approval, but by daring to believe in yourself and leading by example. Every step you take in faith, every action you take with confidence, every moment you decide to trust yourself, even when it feels scary, even when it feels uncertain, you are shaping your life in ways that are profound. You are teaching yourself that your worth is not determined by others. You are teaching yourself that your abilities are real. You are teaching yourself that your dreams are valid, and little by little, day by day, that belief compounds. It grows, it becomes unstoppable. It becomes a force that no doubt, no criticism, no failure, no setback can shake. And so I challenge you tonight, I challenge every single one of you listening, make the decision that self-belief will be your guiding principle. Make the decision that no matter what happens outside of you, your belief inside you will remain unshakable. Make the decision that you will act, you will persist, you will take risks, and you will trust yourself. Because the truth is this, belief precedes achievement. You cannot achieve what you do not believe is possible. You cannot take the leap if you do not trust your wings. You cannot step into your greatness if you have not already decided, deep in your soul, that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you are enough. Every day, remind yourself of this truth. Your dreams are valid. Your goals are possible, your potential is real, and the only person you must convince, the only person you must trust, the only person who must never doubt you is you. Stand in that truth, walk in that truth. Live in that truth, protect it fiercely, nurture it relentlessly, and as you do, you will find doors opening, opportunities presenting themselves, people supporting you, and circumstances aligning in ways that will astound you. You will see that the power of self-belief is not just in achieving your goals, but in becoming the person capable of achieving them.